Day 2 of the NWSL Challenge Cup kicks off in just a matter of moments between the Houston Dash and Utah Royals FC. Houston revamping their roster just a little bit this offseason, bringing in players like Katie Naughton, Megan Oyster, Katie Stengel. Meanwhile, for Utah Royals FC, they'll be playing in their first game under head coach Craig Harrington. I'm Josh Toll, and with me is the keeper, Jen Cooper. And Jen, it's going to be an exciting day for these two, getting their first action here in the NWSL Challenge Cup. And for Craig Harrington, he has one big player to lean on in Amy Rodriguez.
Of course, A-Rod, as we know her, leading scorer for the club, so dangerous. Here's a great goal against Houston last year. She's got one of the best goals per game ratio in this tournament, and so much veteran experience, right? You cannot sleep on Amy Rodriguez. You cannot leave her unmarked. For Amy Rodriguez, the question is, which running mate do they get up there with her, with Kristen Press being out? But for the Houston Dash, well, their striker, Rachel Daly, she can find the back of the net as well. And as James Clarkson has said, as Daly goes, the Dash goes. She is the heart and soul of this team, and now named co-captain along with Jane Campbell. She was tied for the leading scorer on the team last year, and now with the departure of Kaylia Watt, she is the leading active scorer in the team. Well, she's the one to watch. A big moment for both these two teams as they get their first action here in the NWSL Challenge Cup. And we have it all for you here, right here. You're watching the NWSL Challenge Cup presented by P&G and Secret. Welcome back as we get set here for the Houston Dash and Utah Royals FC, the host team, getting their first game of the tournament as they take on Houston. And it's going to be a fun one today. Both these two teams trying to really establish who they are in this tournament, and we'll see how that happens. We'll take a moment here for the national anthem.
Please rise or continue standing for the United States national anthem.
And well, 2020 has a different look to it with COVID-19, so you don't have the full season. We have the NWSL Challenge Cup, but we'll take a look back at what these two teams did last season. We'll start out with the Houston Dash.
First season for head coach James Clarkson. Not the season he wanted, but not a bad season overall. We saw a lot of potential, especially the run towards the end of the season. Even though the standings didn't reflect it, we saw so much potential there. And with this off-season changes, who knows what's going to happen in this tournament.
And for Utah Royals FC under Craig Harrington, well, last year, 25 goals for, 25 allowed.
Laura Harvey's last season in NWSL, they had great spurts of goal scoring and then some kind of fits of not really getting it together. So you have two clubs in transition.
These definitely are two clubs in transition, but it's going to be fun to see how these two bring out their new formations, their new looks that they're going to bring with these new players. And while Houston Dash, they got 4 key pieces coming in.
Look at that center back pairing, Megan Oyster, Katie Naughton. I mean, I'm going to say that's probably the strongest center back pairing that we've seen in the history of the club. Veronica Latsko back from her 2019 injury. Katie Stengel, her first game against her former club. That pairing with Rachel Daly could be so potent.
Add in there Shea Groom coming over from now OL Reign. Lots of more potent firepower for the Dash. And for Utah Royals FC, well, a whole new format, a whole new tactical look, switching to a 3-5-2.
No more Becky Sauerbrunn. She's gone to Portland. Desiree Scott having to miss the tournament for family reasons. But we've got Diana Matheson back. She hasn't played a game for the Royals since 2018. Of course, Amy Rodriguez up top, paired with Brittany Ratcliffe, who is back from injury.
It's going to be great to see how Diana Matheson and Vero combine together this year in the midfield. And then you have Abby Smith getting her first start since 2018. Last year was all Nicole Barnhart. Well, this year, at least for this game, they're going to start out with Abby Smith.
Love to see her back in goal.
And it's going to be an exciting one here. Houston Dash getting ready to go. Last year, 7 wins, 12 losses. Meanwhile, Utah, 10-10, 10 wins, 10 losses. They had 4th most wins in the NWSL, but those 10 losses really hurt them. But under here, first year Craig Harrington, we'll see how they begin to develop their identity as this game and this tournament moves forward.
And as several coaches have told us, Josh, you know, teams can use this as a developmental tournament since now no one's getting eliminated from the first round. Not everyone is, but some will.
And we will have a 40-second moment of silence for the death of George Floyd. And there you see both teams taking a knee. We're seeing that around the world. We've seen it in the first 2 games here in the NWSL. You've seen it in the Bundesliga as well as the EPL. But we are set and ready to go here. Houston Dash and Utah Royals FC going at it. Utah Royals FC in the white kits. Meanwhile, Houston in the orange.
New kit for Houston this season, and that's Utah's same away from last year, but they have a new home kit that we will see later in the tournament.
There you see Alyssa Chapman, the Canadian. Gunny Youngstarter will throw it in for Royals FC. For Utah Royals FC, they're going to try to move up the field a little bit more this year under head coach Craig Harrington. We'll see how that plays a factor. He wants to get more runs and try and connect more with Amy Rodriguez up top, give themselves more scoring opportunities. He felt that last year they were a lot more defensive. So we're going to see how many more times they attack throughout this game as the tournament progresses as well. And this is going to be put into the 6, and that's going to be cleared away. Chance there for Utah Royals, but nothing going at the moment. But an early threat there as Katie Bowen gets the ball, sends it right back in towards the spot, and that one's knotted away. Matheson getting her first touch, but that's cleared away by Katie Naughton. Headed up by Youngstarter. Lewis in possession, and she pokes it out wide to Chapman. Chapman playing it down the line, and that one cut out on the play by Youngstarter.
As we saw Saturday, Josh, you know, all the teams kind of shaking off a little rust. You know, they've had somewhat of a preseason, but they haven't been able to play anyone other than themselves, right? So I think we're still in the round of first games for these teams. Same for tonight. Got to see that rust shaking off. But they've got to be itching to play.
Lewis, Chapman. And she'll slide this one back, and this is going to find its way to Jane Campbell. And that one nearly stolen away by Amy Rodriguez. We saw that in the game on Saturday night against the Red Stars and Washington Spirit. A-Rod almost taking advantage of that from Campbell.
And that's the rust I'm talking about, right? Like, it's tough for a keeper. Nothing replaces having an actual game situation, right? So we might find keepers being just half a second too slow, and A-Rod was smart to try to take advantage of that.
Stengel right there getting her first touch last year with this Utah Royals FC team. Sit in towards Latsko, and that one cut out. Labonta unable to bring that down. Latsko still fighting for possession. Rise Strom Okimoto out of Hawaii will play it near side. Strom Okimoto just played in 3 games last season under Laura Harvey, but getting the start today in this first NWSL Challenge Cup game for Utah Royals. Long ball is Daly onside. No, offside flag is up.
Strom Okimoto, one of those national team replacement players during the World Cup window who worked her way into a contract.
Go back to Strom at the University of Hawaii. She was Big West Conference Player of the Year there. We'll see how in her second year she's grown and developed during this off season. But Craig Harrington putting a lot of faith in her to start this one off.
Abby Smith on the ball out of University of Texas. She's one of the few Texas natives in the league. Nice to see her back in goal.
That one knotted up in the air. Hansen. Here's Matheson. That pass cut out, and Lewis will send it towards the touchline. Here's Elizabeth Ball making her first appearance in a Utah Royals FC uniform. She came over in the trade for Becky Salabron from the Portland Thorns.
I'd say that's one of the biggest offseason trades, more for the pain of the Utah fans than anything else. Like, no, you can't give up Sauerbrunn.
Head coach Craig Harrington has talked about how Elizabeth Ball has been better than advertised. Mark Parsons always had glowing words to speak of her last season with the Thorns. We'll see how she adjusts here in this tournament format. Broom. She was trying to slot that one through, but dispossessing the ball with Strom Okimoto. Ball. Plays it over. Bowen not ready for the ball, but she heard her teammates respond and turn and saw it. This one sent direct, and that one's going to be headed away by Naughton. Bowen with the throw for Royals FC.
Bowen at such a young age has already represented New Zealand at 3 different Women's World Cups.
Maybe possibly be able to do it again in 2023 when Australia and New Zealand will be hosting the World Cup.
Have you booked your tickets yet?
Getting on it right now. Katie Stengel on the far wing. Stengel cuts inside, looking for someone to pass to. Goes in the area, and that one's chopped out by Labonta. Matheson to Vero. Vero back to the Canadian. Nearly slotted that one through to Rodriguez, but right there, Naughton making a difference here early for Houston. And Jen, what are your thoughts on the Katie Naughton and Megan Oyster being brought over in terms of helping this back line out for Houston?
I think that's the area where the club has struggled the most in its history for a variety of reasons, whether it was injury, a player that couldn't come over as soon as they thought, the limited rosters, you know, that kind of thing. So to get not only one strong center back, but two, both of whom who have playoff experience, you know, multiple years with their clubs as starters, that's huge. So you're not just bringing one to strengthen the back line, you're bringing a starting pair. And Ali Prysock, who got a lot of starts last year as a rookie, you know, she's in that mix as well.
Ball in possession. Labonta. Back to ball. Into the center of the pitch. Right now, Utah just being patient with their build-up.
Labonta has a tough role. She kind of has to step in for Desiree Scott, who's going to have to unfortunately miss this tournament for family reasons. You know, Desiree the Destroyer, as we like to call her, you know, is that great defensive midfield, kind of that holding right in front of the back line.
This one played all the way back to Jane Campbell, and she'll send it back to midfield.
But if anybody's got the teeth to replace Desiree Scott, I think it's Labonta.
Labonta, 2 goals last season. She had a fiery goal up in Tacoma last year against Reign FC. This one played forward by Mewis. And finds the hands of Abby Smith. Abby Smith, the 26-year-old we talked about a moment ago, last played in September of 2018. In that 2018 campaign, she had 6 shutouts.
She started most of the goals for Utah in the club's first year. She was healthy all of last year, but Nicole Barnhart had won the starting spot back. So great to see her as a young keeper who's got a future ahead of her, potentially, you know, with the national team, get back in front of goal.
Brittany Radcliffe giving chase, able to get there on the end line. Bowen moving forward. Back to Radcliffe. With the right foot at the 6. Back post, and no one there. Risa Strom-Okimoto was near there, as that one's going to be played out by Erin Simon.
Erin Simon, one of many new acquisitions to the club. They picked her up from West Ham United. She was drafted into NWSL by Sky Blue in 2016. Played a couple seasons before heading to the UK.
That was another player that James Clarkson couldn't have enough praise for, in Erin Simon. Just brings professional experience. Ready to get a look here with the Houston Dash. First corner of the afternoon. This one whipped in. And that one headed away by Katie Stengel. Labonta with a shot, and that one well off target. There you see Lo Labonta. Labonta in her 6th year, the 27-year-old. Won a championship with Stanford in 2011.
Nice delivery by Campbell.
You talk about just having that leg as a weapon, especially when you have the accuracy that so many of these keepers have to deliver it anywhere on the pitch.
And that's one of the pieces you have to add to your game if you don't have it coming out of college. We've seen really great shot stoppers that don't have the distribution, and you're not going to make it at the next level if you don't have that distribution.
Campbell, the youngest goalkeeper called into a U.S. national tournament camp.
To a senior camp at the age of 17 to train with the full national team.
Barrow. Radcliffe trying to drop that one back off, but right there is Chapman. Sends it with the left. Daly on the wing. The captain. Just trying to sneak that through Corsi, but unable to get it through the Scottish captain. Corner here for Houston Dash, so we saw one on the other side for Utah Royals FC, and now we'll see our first for Houston.
Both Corsi and Daly playing in their first Women's World Cup last summer. England with Rachel Daly making it all the way to the semifinals. Don't remind her about that. She doesn't like to talk about that game.
And here is Christy Mills setting up with that left foot of hers. The service into the area. Latsko trying to turn away from Labonta. Latsko loses her footing, and this will go right to Utah Royals FC.
Latsko spending the offseason with Sydney FC. in the Australia W League, played in one of the final live soccer games before the shutdown in March.
Let's go, a big rookie year for the Dash, 4 goals. Last year played in 4 games due to injury. So going over and playing in the W League allowed her to get her footing back as this one slotted through. And that one played off. Groom was in the area for the Dash, but ball right there. Ball doing a good job of shielding Shea Groom off.
Nice to have Groom on the Dash roster, which she and I talked about how it was nice for her to be back in Texas after spending her college years at Texas A&M. She's not originally from Texas, but she said it feels like a second home.
Look at Groom, one of those players that's brought in to help this attack. There's the other one, Stengel. Last year for Houston Dash, 21 goals. 10 of those coming from Daly and Sofia Huerta. Huerta now on to OL Reign. But that's going to be the question. Where can they get more offensive firepower? And they're hoping Groom and Stengel will be a couple of those, as well as adding back Veronica Latsko.
Also adding back Kayla McCoy, who only got to play 1 game before she got injured. Nichelle Prince couldn't play after the World Cup due to injury. Prince is out for this game for personal reasons, but is hoping to be able to participate later in the tournament. So with those 3 players coming back from injury and the acquisitions in the offseason, there's a lot of attack potential here.
Mewis playing it forward. Latsko trying to skip through, but tripped up by Gunny Jonstadter. Opportunity here for the Dash to take advantage. You have to be real careful in this tournament when it comes to yellow cards.
That's a good point, Josh, because like a World Cup tournament, once you have 2 in the first round, well, actually including the quarterfinals, you have to sit out the next game. Now, after the quarterfinals, everyone's yellow card count goes back to 0.
Daly into the box. Headed down, and what a stop by Abby Smith. Stengel had a great header there, but Abby Smith was up to the challenge. And that is one way to be tested early for the 26-year-old keeper out of Plano, Texas.
Great rising Katie Stengel. Look at those hops. Gets her head on that, right on goal, but Abby Smith read that well. She was in the right place at the right time and fell on that ball to prevent it from going in.
Beautiful pass by Daly to find Stengel, but an even more impressive save by Smith.
And adding Katie Stengel's height to the roster, that's a big piece for the Dash. They have not had a lot of tall players. That height could be very valuable.
Another thing that James Clarkson talked about with Katie Stengel is how she can hold up the ball and be more creative, something that he felt they didn't have as much of last year. And he's looking to see what she can do. Last year for Katie Stengel, started and came on as a sub, but you go back to 2 years ago, she led Utah Royals FC in scoring with 6 goals. There you see Amy Rodriguez getting a little talking to, but nothing too serious. Amy Rodriguez, one of the most fiery competitors you will see in this NWSL Challenge Cup.
Though I liked last season, I saw a game where she got a yellow card and then she made the little namaste sign to the referee. So she knows how to take it like a pro. Yeah, she's like, yep.
And there is our first yellow card. That's actually our first yellow card, I believe, of the tournament. So Amy Rodriguez, she's going to have to be careful going forward. We just talked about what yellow card accumulation means in this.
Because if she gets 1 more in the first round and even the quarterfinals, she would have to sit out the next game.
This one played outside, chested down. Matheson plays it back. No one there. Corsi outside the ball. Ball, the former Nittany Lion, works her way down the touchline to Diana Matheson. She'll give that one over, but now Vero will take it right back. Vero has numbers. Goes near side to Radcliffe. Backing up is Chapman. Vero. And that one chopped down. Now played back towards midfield. Bowen gets a return pass. trying to find Ratcliffe, and good job shielding away the defender there by Alyssa Chapman.
Ratcliffe with her signature orange bow. No, she's not supporting the dash on the slide. That's just her signature game day bow.
Ratcliffe began her career with Boston, then went to FC KC in the last 2 years here with Utah Royals FC. Another player that can bring firepower to the top. You see in the past the struggles that Utah has finding that secondary scorer when they do not have both A-Rod and Kristen Press. So who's going to be that player? It seems like every year we've been asking that question. And for this tournament, we'll see who that player is that steps up. In this case right now, Brittany Ratcliffe getting the run.
And they've also have the like support of, you know, Matheson. Obviously she didn't get to play last year, but she's been able to score. Jonsdottir, even coming from the back, can score. And Rachel Corsi, she got her first ever NWSL goal last year.
This one sent to the penalty area, and Smith will come up and scoop this ball before Stengel can get to it. James Clarkson in his second year with the Dash. Last season 7-12-5. And really, you see a lot of turnover in this Dash team. They're looking to improve in different areas. We've been talking about how they've done it up top. And there you see one of those main pieces brought in Katie Naughton, who heads it away once again.
And this is the first season of the Dash, Josh, that there is no longer any remaining player from the inaugural season, with the departure of Ari Romero, the retirement of Bianca Henninger, and of course Kalia Watt being traded to Chicago. But you know, that happens as clubs go. This is the 7th season for this club, the first ever expansion club in the league. And they retained a pretty good core from last year and just added to it. So I feel like this is the first time in several seasons where I feel like, wow, there's good players sitting on the bench. How is James Clarkson choosing, you know, which 11 to go?
Matheson drops it off to LaBunta. She'll play it back. Ball. And Utah will just continue to reset. Bowen. LaBunta, and LaBunta's knocked off the ball by the smaller Shea Groom. Groom down the touchline, but offside flag is up once again against Rachel Daly. Been a couple times she's been testing that back line right there. Nearly, almost onside, but flag up. It's all about getting those timing down sometimes, and here the first game, we're going to see how that continues to play out.
Nice through ball, but she's just a step off. I don't think she believes it, but it looked like she was.
Rachel Daly, one of the 2 captains named by James Clarkson, the other one being the goalkeeper, Jane Campbell. This one's played forward. Naughton. A-Rod plays it out. Strom Okimoto. Vero with the right, fires, and that one just over. I don't know if Campbell got a piece of it. You know, Utah claiming
Vero
corner.
thinks she did, but I don't think the ref thinks she did.
Great chance there by the Spaniard Vero as she sends this in. Ooh, that might have been a fingertip on that. I think from that angle it was a fingertip, but
That's so close to call.
That's a tough one.
It seemed like the ball barely changed direction.
Jane Campbell, that captain, All-American out of Stanford.
And the current league holder of consecutive starts and goal, we're talking NWSL regular season, and also most penalty kick saves, which I know she doesn't want to keep adding to that record.
63 straight starts in the NWSL regular season for Jane Campbell. Soccer fans, the official shop of the NWSL is coming soon. Visit NWSLshop.com now and sign up to be the first to receive special offers and promotions. NWSLshop.com, the official place to gear up and support your favorite team, coming soon.
And so many teams have released new jerseys this season, and some really fun new jerseys. So, yeah, I'll be signing up for that.
Strom Okimoto on the far touchline. I'm waiting to see Utah's home jersey, or I should say their blue jersey, their new one. They went yellow last season, but they got some fancy ones coming out. We'll see those here in the coming days. Jonsdottir plays it back to Corsi. Ball. She'll slide it into Labonta. Labonta playing it down to Bowen. Bowen sends it into the area, and that one cut out. Katie Naughton has had a busy first 22 minutes here in this one.
Just good to get warmed up, shake off that rust, get into the game.
Vero. Bowen will try it again. Rodriguez to the 6, and just a missed touch by Ratcliffe. Well, A-Rod did everything she could to set up Brittany Ratcliffe for that, but just could not get any quality behind this chance. But here we're seeing Utah continue to move forward more and get in that attack.
Great vision by Rodriguez to get that straight through to the 6. Ratcliffe tries to one-touch it, but she's just not facing the right direction. But it's as if she hasn't missed a beat, right? It's as if she didn't miss 2019.
Craig Harrington talking about how he wants to be more creative in that final third. Seen a little bit of that creativity right there on that last possession for Utah Royals FC.
And he also talked about that, you know, they have a lot of great veterans, but they've tried to add a lot of youth, right? You look at the players in this tournament, 2 of the top 3, the oldest 3 players in the tournament are on Utah's roster. Of course, that includes Nicole Barnhart as backup goalkeeper, but a lot of experience, right? But you have to balance that age with youth.
Seeing different teams take different approaches how they want to use their young players.
Karen Apt, referee, keeping things in line. She has a lot of experience in NWSL, also has officiated many U.S. Women's National Team friendlies.
Daly will line up. That one easily brought down out of the air by Abby Smith. Abby Smith challenged once on a set piece. Daly was able to connect with Katie Stengel, but unable to finish as Abby Smith made a brilliant save earlier in this first half. For Jane Campbell, she's had some congestion in the box, but really one good opportunity, that one coming from Vero, that just went right above the crossbar. Direct ball, Smith well out. Latsko was there, headed forward. That one brought down by Chapman. Naughton. Center back Megan Oyster.
Josh, I feel like these teams are finding their groove, right? We're seeing more passes, connecting, a nice flow to the game. Both teams attacking, right? We don't see one team dominating yet.
That was the thing for both these coaches talking to them, is just what was it going to be like going against some other competition other than their own. And right now, both these two teams starting to get a feel. You really saw that in the North Carolina Portland game, in that early Saturday game where both teams were trying to feel one another out.
And with the slight change in format, with the Orlando Pride being unable to compete in the tournament, it does mean that everybody advances to the quarterfinals, but you are still fighting for seeding, right?
Only 2 teams right now with 3 points. That is the North Carolina Courage and the Washington Spirit. Both teams winning 2-1 on Saturday. As Groom plays it out wide. This one slotted back to Hansen.
So nice to see Haley Hansen back in midfield. She kind of had to move to outside back for the tail end of the season last year. She did an admirable job, but I think she much rather would play in midfield.
One of the things that James Clarkson talked about was the depth that he has on this team this year. So hopefully he won't have to be moving players around like that this season.
Exactly.
Both these two teams looking for their first goal here in the NWSL Challenge, as we are scoreless here in the 26th minute. Labonta. Labonta last year did play some of that holding midfielder when Desiree Scott was gone for the World Cup.
And we've talked about, you know, some players being out, like Desiree Scott, Nichelle Prince. We should also mention, of course, Kelly O'Hara out for this game, but she does hope to play in the tournament. And Mallory Weber, she's also on that out list, but just temporarily.
Ball.
And then their new signing from France, Aminata Diallo, she has arrived in Utah, but she's going through her quarantine, having traveled internationally. So she hopes to join the team soon in training as well.
That's another player this Utah Royals FC club's really excited to see what she brings. Now one headed away by Simon, and there's Oyster.
And of course, we all saw the rumors about Utah potentially signing Sarah Buhati and Jennifer Marochan, but with all of the shutdown and the travel issues, you know, that just didn't pan out.
Matheson. Strom Okimoto. Bowen. Played down, but A-Rod was standing still on that run. He was with the back heel.
Oh, she loves that back heel.
And then just not on the same page. Daly holding up the run rather than streaking forward. Elizabeth Ball in her third year, first season with Utah Royals FC.
She was part of that big trade that sent Becky Sauerbrunn to Portland Thorns.
Daly trying to get around Youngstotter. Of course, he able to chase down, plays it back to her keeper. Smith plays it high into the sky. And just given right back by Chapman.
I don't know if many NWSL fans know, Josh, just how potent Abby Smith's boot is, because her 4-year career at University of Texas, 3 different seasons, she scored a goal.
She was the first player ever drafted out of the University of Texas. That's one of the luxuries that Craig Harrington has with Abby Smith and Nicole Barnhart. He can throw either one of those goalkeepers out here during this tournament, and he's going to find success between the sticks.
Now, I would say maybe Utah, North Carolina probably have the best 1-2 keeper pairs in the league right now.
Now a corner coming for Utah. There you see Aaron, who has a yellow card.
First yellow card of the tournament.
Amy Rodriguez has done so much. Just look at the success. 77 games in the regular season, 34 goals.
And she's the all-time leader for playoff goals as well, so add another 6 to that.
Back post, headed away. Hansen able to clear it away.
Great header, defensive header by Katie Stengel.
Katie Stengel, we've seen her twice get up in the air. One in the attacking third, that time defending that back line. This will take another deflection. We'll have another corner here for Utah Royals FC. Utah Royals FC last year had 3 players in the World Cup. Rachel Corsi, Kelly O'Hara, and Katie Bowen being the third. Barrow. Nothing happening there. It looked like Radcliffe got hit. That shot's going to be well off target. Radcliffe able to get up though. Looks like maybe just her hand got kicked. And now we will have our hydration break. We will have 1 each half. But we are scoreless here 30 minutes into this one. Abby Smith so far with the save of the game in this one, keeping this score at 0-0. Campbell with 1 chance. As we'll take a look back at some of the highlights that we've seen from the opening 30 minutes of this one.
Pretty early in the game, too. Rachel Daly, nice free kick, lofting ball. Stengel jumps, gets the head down, but Abby Smith is right there to smother that ball.
Great position there by Abby Smith. And then Barrow would have the chance, but she would just sail that one over the crossbar. Campbell able to see that one all the way through.
And Vera upset, of course, that they didn't get a corner after that, because it seemed like Jane Campbell touched the ball, but it's hard to tell.
For you, Jen, this opening 32 minutes, what have you seen from both teams that you're liking so far?
Well, I've seen the progression in the first 30 minutes, that they looked a little rusty to start, but you're starting to see the players kind of come alive, get in the groove. It seems very even. I don't see either team dominating right now, but I'd like to see a little bit more of an attack from either one, really, right? We haven't had a lot of shots on goal. We've had a lot of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But I think that'll come, right? Everybody's shaking off the rust. It's the first time they've get to play an opponent that's not on their own team since last fall, really. Here's James Clarkson with assistant coach Twyla Kaufman. She's been a big part of their off-season recruiting, as she coached in California for a long time at Pepperdine, also UC Davis. Interesting to note that you know, Brie Vazali, one of their newest signings for the Dash, she was originally recruited to Pepperdine by Twyla, right? And then, you know, years later, Twyla can say, hey, do you want to come play in Houston? You're over at the UK, but you want to come back home?
Brie Vazali coming over from West Ham United, also played with Birmingham City. Vazali and Aaron Simon were actually teammates at West Ham United. So even those two have familiarity coming back over to Houston.
Everybody knows everybody in this game, right? Like Jane Campbell, Abby Smith, they've been together in the U23 national team pool together. It really feels like a very small club.
Sometimes chemistry can make and break a team. It's all about getting those right pieces. Daly with a quick throw, has Groom. Groom with the left. And a chance miss there by Shane Groom in the Houston Dash. Smart play there by Rachel Daly, getting that throw in very quickly and sending it forward before the defense could readjust.
And I don't think Daly gets enough credit for her ability to provide for teammates. And hopefully with so many more attacking options for the Dash this season, she can do that as much as she scores.
Daly representing England last year in the World Cup. Played a lot of outside back, which she's seen a little bit of time with the Houston Dash, but back to that forward position.
Long time ago. We're not going to talk about that 2 years ago, yeah.
She's most effective up top, and you can see that way when you lead the team in scoring the last 3 years. Bowen through the legs. Ratcliffe. Chance here building for Utah. That one bent in. And right there, Oyster cuts it out. And there you see the calmness of Megan Oyster. Oyster coming over from OL Reign in that trade for Sofia Huerta and Amber Brooks. Shea Groom also came over with that. Here's A-Rod. Sends back to the 6, and Utah is on the board first. Diana Matheson with her first goal of the NWSL Challenge Cup, and what a look from Amy Rodriguez. Well, it was only a matter of time before one of these teams' backlines broke down, and right there, Utah.
Isn't this what I just asked for, a little bit more of an attack? What vision by Amy Rodriguez. Of course, Lo LaBonta starts off the play, sends it to the side. Rodriguez, smart, sent it right across to the 6, and there's Diana Matheson. Such great experience, soccer IQ, making the run to be in the most dangerous spot. All she has to do is kind of side-foot it in, right? Nothing Jane Campbell can do about that when she is near post to cover that cross. And Matheson, not who you would think would be the first to score today, right? But she can be so potent. And as we saw her return to Canada for 3 games in France in March, she was the spark that made their offense happen.
Well, talking with Craig Harrington about Diana Matheson, couldn't gush enough about her soccer IQ, her ability to create. He was really looking forward to what her and Vero could do in the midfield for this Utah Royals FC team. I don't think he expected maybe a goal from her right away,
but he'll
maybe
take
distributing, but he will definitely take it, and they are on board first with the 1-0 lead. Now, how does Houston respond? This is the first time that they played from behind, so it's another way that they can work out, but right now Utah looking to run right back again. Stengel finds Groom. Hansen looking to chase the ball down. This takes deflection. Nearly found the boot of A-Rod. Goes over Corsi. Right there lurking was Veronica Latsko.
And I have to think, Josh, that some of these players really benefited by a delay in the start of the season. And I'm thinking specifically Matheson or Rachel Daly coming off having played She Believes, you know, to get some extra rest and recovery time, right? We've seen Diana Matheson struggle with injuries the last couple of seasons, having to miss basically all of 2019, not getting to go to the Women's World Cup. So that rest must have helped, and it looks like she's back, right?
You also look at a lot of these players coming over from the W League as well, not just jumping right into the NWSL season like they normally would, so they're getting some rest.
Matheson, third oldest player in the tournament, and second oldest field player.
Nicole Barnhart and Christine Sinclair are the other two.
You got it.
Hansen. And no one up front for the dash. And now Utah will slow things down, and that was the one thing that Craig Harrington talked about, how they can slow it down and speed it up. Last year, a much more deliberate team with the build-up through the back. But already in this game, we're seeing them try to push the pace and push it forward. Ball over the top to Amy Rodriguez. And you look at those long balls. Going back to Craig Harrington, 2 years with the Chicago Red Stars. Well, if you want to send a direct ball, you would always try to go to Sam Kerr. In this case, he has Amy Rodriguez. Not quite Sam Kerr, but still getting it done at 33.
Different kind of player. Different kind of player.
But Amy Rodriguez not afraid to go 1v1 versus anyone. Labonta drops it back. Corsi able to wiggle around. Youngstotter.
What I love about Amy Rodriguez is her fight, right? She's come back to playing after twice giving birth. Also, you know, an ACL tear in her first game back after returning after her second kid. You know, it's like she just keeps fighting, and you see that her entire play on the field.
Groom earns the dash a corner. Their second of the game. That one played out by Gunny Youngstotter. Chance here for Christy Mewis in the dash to get an equalizer. The delivery towards the spot. Cleared away. Chapman
Naughton trying to get in the mix there. Chappie too.
Back post, and right there is Abby Smith.
Good thinking by Alicia Chapman on that, but Abby Smith read that well, saved that so cleanly.
For you and what you've seen so far here from Abby Smith after not playing last season, what have you liked from her today?
Well, the important thing to remember is she wasn't out injured last season, so at least we know she was training at the highest level with one of the best, you know, goalkeepers in the league with Nicole Barnhart. But like we've said before, there's no replacement for an actual game. So to see her making some really clean saves like that is a very good sign.
Matheson. Kind of 1-2 there between Radcliffe and Matheson. Latsko. Daly going outside, Stengel alone. Turns away. Hughes drops it right back to Stengel. Good job there defensively by Strom Okimoto coming back. Latsko trying to shake Bowen. Now they'll just bring this back to midfield. Oyster in the circle. Simon down the line. Daly working it to the end line, and just a little bit too much touch on that. And here's a goal kick for Utah Royals FC.
Good to see Houston keeping up the pressure. Still a lot of time to get back in this game.
First game for both these two clubs here in the NWSL Challenge Cup. For Houston up next Saturday, 12:30, they will take on OL Reign. Meanwhile, for Utah Royals FC, they will also be at it Saturday. They will take on Sky Blue. That one will be the night one at 10 p.m. Eastern.
And for Craig Harrington, Josh, if he wins this game, he will just be only the 7th coach in NWSL to win in his first ever game.
Matheson, Vero outside, Strom Okimoto. Try to play that one through, but that one chopped down by Aaron Simon. Broom couldn't handle that pass, just hopped over her boot. Ratcliffe with the right, and that one will go off the deflection, and another corner here coming for Utah Royals FC. Ratcliffe looking to get that one on target. Hit off the defender, but here another chance for Utah Royals as we are just minutes away from half. And Barrow will have an opportunity on the near corner.
Barrow still all-time leading scorer for Spain, even though she hasn't played for the team in 3 years. Such a legend.
Labonta. Now Groom will play it forward. No one at midfield for Houston. Back towards the area. Rodriguez. Barrow in the channel. Sends it in with that right foot, but right there is Jane Campbell. Home goal coming from Diana Matheson. You're at 1-0. Every team so far that has played in the Challenge Cup has scored at least one goal. Houston with their work cut out with them for them here this final couple minutes and then into the next 45. Newest, Daly. Latsko giving chase, but she's going to run out of room.
Talking about Matheson, Josh, she played her first several seasons in NWSL with the Washington Spirit. She is still that club's all-time leading scorer because she did most of the heavy lifting for scoring their first 2 seasons. And then they got Crystal Dunn, so yeah, then she didn't have to worry about it as much.
And this will go to Utah Royals. Willie Hansen putting on his tournament here, taking place at Zions Bank Stadium. First game for Utah Royals FC.
I liked how Craig Harrington told us that for him it didn't feel like a home game because they're not at the Riot, aka the Rio Tinto Stadium. You know, it's further south in Sandy, Utah. It's not their home game.
It's about 25 minutes away from Rio Tinto Stadium, but they are the only team that didn't have to really travel because they had to move apartments.
Granted, they don't get any fans in the stadium either.
Sprayed out wide to Matheson. Simon able to shield away Matheson and earn the foul.
And Utah last year, Josh, they became just the 2nd club in league history to have average attendance over 10,000 in one season. Of course, we all know who the #1 club is, of course, Portland. And there's James Clarkson looking very fit after he told us he biked about 1,000 miles during the shutdown.
That's a way to keep in shape.
One of the players told me she didn't really recognize him when they got back to practice.
Latsko into the area, cuts it into Daly. Daly brings it down, and that one finds the back. And now Rachel Daly has found the equalizer here right before half.
Nice little celebration there with Megan Oyster. That's the response that James Clarkson wanted to see. And that's such an important goal, Josh, right on the cusp of halftime, right? You're going into the locker room level again.
Latsko had plenty of time to pick out someone that she wanted to pass to. Great long ball.
Long ball from the back. Latsko bringing it up the left, sending it back to the top of the 18. And Rachel gives herself just enough time, but not too much time to place her shot. We have seen her in the past wait a little bit too long, and the keeper comes out to save it.
Rachel Daly last year, 5 goals on the year, getting her first here in the NWSL Challenge Cup.
And that's just the second, well, that's the second time in only 3 games, Josh, that we have a stoppage time goal, right? Yeah, that very dramatic one in the opener, Lynn Williams getting the go-ahead goal for North Carolina. It ain't over till it's over, right? Gotta wait, play to the whistle.
A-Rod trying to sneak through, unable to do so. Radcliffe going to the far post. Labonta, and that one's going to sail well left. But Utah Royals led there for a good 20 minutes here in the first half. Dash finding a way to knot things up here in stoppage time. That goal coming from Rachel Daly.
And look at the smile on her face, right? She's like, okay, I'm ready to score some more now.
That's another thing. That's going to be fun. Who's going to be the leading scorer in this tournament?
Who gets the Golden Boot? And that is going to be a sponsored award, I've heard.
Ball playing it back. Enough weight on that pass. Right there, Veronica Latsko once again putting pressure on that back line, trying to get them to commit a mistake. Vero. She'll bring it over to Bowen. Bowen plays it down. Houston thought that was out of play. And now it's cleared away by Katie Naughton. Seconds running down here in this stoppage time, and then they get a late whistle. So here, now Utah can set up this final set piece. And maybe if they can get something going, try to sneak away with a goal. We saw one here in stoppage. Could we see a second?
And this has to be the last play of the half, Josh.
Matheson and Vero lined up. Vero will have the honors. Plays it into the 6. Headed up and just over the crossbar. What a chance there late. Rachel Corsi nearly getting the second goal for Utah. And there is the final whistle of the first half. But wow, what a first 45 we had. Fireworks right there at the end. Daly starting it, and Corsi nearly getting another goal for Houston, or for Utah. But we will go into half. Houston won, Utah won. Diana Matheson right there with the first goal for Utah, and Rachel Daly would have the equalizer in stoppage. It's been fun on both sides. What a game we have here in the second day on the NWSL Challenge Cup. You are watching the NWSL Challenge Cup on Twitch.
A little bit of composure. I think we spoke about that at the warm.
Welcome back. We are at half here between the Houston Dash and the Utah Royals FC in this first ever NWSL Challenge Cup. Well, things got started off Saturday, and what a game to start it between the North Carolina Courage and the Portland Thorns. In the 75th minute, first-year player Haley Mace would play this ball into the box, and there Brazilian Debinha heads it in for the first goal for North Carolina Courage. But here, Portland would respond just 5 minutes later. Herriman heads it up. LeBay pops it back off the crossbar, can't clear it away, and Simone Charlie comes in for the rebound, gets Portland's lone goal of the game. In stoppage time, Mewis striding down the channel. She'll send another cross in, and this one would find Lynn Williams, and she would put it home for the 2-1 win for the North Carolina Courage in the night game. The Chicago Red Stars took on the Washington Spirit. Here, great little slip pass by Lavelle to Hatch. Hatch denied by Nair, but Lavelle follows up and puts it in the roof of the net for the first goal for the Spirit. And then early in the second half, mistake here by Alyssa Nair, and Hatch able to capitalize and get the second goal for the Spirit in the 51st minute. Morgan Gautreau, though, would respond and get her first goal of this tournament, sliding that one right past Aubrey Bledsoe. Great action Saturday, more action tonight as well as this week, Jen.
Right, tonight we have OL Reign kicking off against Sky Blue FC with Farid Ben-Stidi getting his first game as a head coach in NWSL. Tomorrow, teams start to play their second games of the tournament. Portland Thorns facing Chicago in a rematch of the 2019 semifinal. And then Washington Spirit taking on North Carolina Courage. And of course, all the action continues Saturday. First game Saturday will be Utah Royals against Sky Blue.
Tomorrow you have Portland, Chicago, both those teams hoping to get their first win of this tournament. And then you have the exciting game as well between the Courage and the surprise Washington Spirit. We'll see if one of those teams can get their second win. But we got more great action for you here today in this NWSL Challenge Cup presented by P&G and Secret. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are all knotted up here between the Houston Dash and Utah Royals FC. 45 minutes in the books when we return highlights from this one, and what an exciting first 45 it was at Zions Bank Stadium. We are at half here between the Dash and Royals FC, all knotted up at 1, and what a first 45 we had between these two clubs, as we'll take a look back at the highlights from this first half.
It took a while for them to put it in the back of the net, but they certainly gave us a lot to get excited about. Vero, nice shot from distance, barely missing the frame. And of course, you know she wanted a corner kick to follow up that, but what a great shot from Vera Boquete. 35th minute again, Utah working it up the side. Amy Rodriguez, what vision, sending it to top of the 6, on-rushing Matheson. All she has to do is one touch it in. Second oldest field player in the league, boom, it's in. That's our first goal since June 2018, Josh.
What a way to find it here in this NWSL Challenge Cup, as Diana Matheson helps out, but Houston would come back into this.
Stoppage time. Katie Naughton sending it from deep to Veronica Latsko, coming up the left flank. Nice pass straight to Rachel Daly in the middle. Converts for her first goal of 2020 to equalize for Dash in stoppage time. Nice to see Latsko back on the field. Great connection with Daly for the goal.
And that is where we are at right now. 1 apiece, as Daly would get the equalizer in stoppage. Right at the end, Corsi had a great chance off the header, but unable to find the back. But here we take a look at the stats. Jen, anything stand out to you?
Little bit of possession dominance by Utah, but it really felt like a back and forth match. Got better flow as the game went on. And we did see our first yellow card of the entire tournament with Amy Rodriguez getting yellow. You
had Craig Harrington talking about how he wanted to be more aggressive on the attack. Well, Utah has 7 shots, but just 1 on goal. We'll see how they try to improve that here in the second half, as we are about to get set for live action. 45 more minutes in this one to decide who's going to come out on top. And Jen, with what we saw there at the end of the first half, what do you expect here to carry over into the second?
There's a lot more fight in both of these teams. I think we're going to be treated to a lot more goals as well, right? Like you've got some new defensive pieces in there. You got keepers who maybe just be a tiny bit rusty, though I wouldn't say that Smith is that, you know, has much rust left to shake off. But there's so much fight in both of these teams, and both teams in transition. We talked about this, right? Second year for James Clarkson, made a lot of changes in the offseason. First year as a head coach in NWSL for Craig Harrington after 2 years as assistant at Chicago.
And we are underway here in the second half. Houston in the orange, Utah in the white. Josh Toll and Jen Cooper with you. That first half ended with some excitement. Now we'll see how both these two teams come out. Dangerous pass back there by Megan Oyster, but had enough weight on it to get it back to Campbell. Mewis at midfield goes down with the left as the sun has come out here in Herriman. And that one played out by Ball. And we'll have our first corner here of the second half. I think Elizabeth Ball had more time than she thought there, but didn't want to take any chances. And now Christy Mewis will jog over for the corner.
Well, great pressure by Houston out of the gate, right?
And now Houston looking to possibly find that second goal. Great look there at Abby Smith. High lofting ball, headed up and in for the second goal. And once again, it is Rachel Daly. What a connection there from Mewis to Rachel Daly. A beautiful cross on that corner piece, and now Daly has a brace.
And that's got to be the earliest goal we have in any of the halves so far. Of course, it's only the 3rd game of the tournament, but what a way to come out of the locker room and make a statement, especially from the captain. Great connection with this corner. Left foot by Mewis, perfectly placed. Look at the hop from Rachel Daly. Gets up, gets that ball going down. Not a lot that Abby Smith can do there. She's in the right place, but it's just under the bar, kind of out of her reach. Dash up 2-1, Josh.
Daly comes.
I said we were going to have more goals, right?
Daly came from the backside of that set piece, comes into the middle of the frame, and gets the second goal. And now, for the first time today, Utah Royals FC trails. We'll see how they respond now, trailing by 1. Rodriguez.
And we can say, Josh, that Rachel Daly now leads the Golden Boot standings.
2 goals for Rachel Daly. All the other scores with just 1. ball. Strom Okimoto on the end line. Loses possession, just could not drag that back into the field of play.
And I think the big difference for Rachel Daly in this game, Josh, is she's got more support and more options in how they can, deliver, how Dash can finalize that goal, right? Make the final pass. She's not having to do it all herself. She's got all of this great support around her, like we saw Latsko on the first goal providing, and then Mewis, excellent corner by Mewis.
And that's for both teams too. You've seen other people provide for those goals. All three goals coming from assists by way of other players. So everyone getting involved on both teams as that one takes deflection off Bowen and finds its way into the stands. Rachel Daly, you look last year, 5 goals on the season, but 10 goals in 2018.
Of course, gone almost half the season last year for the Women's World Cup, but still just didn't seem as comfortable as she did in 2010. Oh, sorry, the 10 goals in 2018.
Vero in the circle. Finds Matheson. Strom Okimoto. Brings it inside and drops it off. Labonta. Misplaced pass there by Lo Labonta. Just one of those ones you think maybe just, again, looking to work a little bit of that rust off. It's a misplaced pass there as Alyssa Chapman will now have the throw-in for Houston. Chapman, the 31-year-old out of Courtice, Ontario, Canada. Played at LSU, but this offseason was an assistant coach for Rice University.
Reunited with her old LSU coach, Brian Lee. And the assistant coach there is someone who used to play for the Dash, Megan Kinnaman. And Josh, we have to give a shout out to all the viewers on Twitch. I know a lot of people underestimate the international support for this league. Love to see that fan base out there.
Last year, 3 international players representing Utah in the World Cup. For Houston, they had 5. But you look at Houston, they didn't have 1 U.S. national team player on that.
Only team in the league without a current U.S. national team player.
Groom sprinting forward, plays it out wide. Latsko with the left. Tried to go near post. She had Groom in the middle and Stengel on the far post. It looks like maybe that took a deflection. And yes, it did. Last goal come from Houston by way of the corner kick. They will have another chance here on the opposite side.
And they seem more confident, Josh, right? Getting that goal before halftime and then scoring quickly again, coming back out of the locker room. They're looking good.
Another opportunity here for Dash. He sets up with the left. And that one snatched out of the air by Abby Smith. No problems there.
Nice to see that clean catch. She's not trying to punch it away or bat it away. She just takes the ball out of the air cleanly, gives her time then to settle, let Utah push up.
Abby Smith, if you weren't with us earlier, first start since September of 2018. She had a marvelous save early in this game against Katie Stengel.
Originally drafted by Boston and then picked up by Utah after Boston folded.
Strom Okimoto with a little space with the right, and that one shot right on the middle of the frame, and right there is Jane Campbell. Campbell able to see that one all the way through. Stengel last year with Utah Royals FC, so making a return home. She talked about how it was a little weird driving by her old apartment, but she's happy to be in Houston. We were talking about this off air, how a lot of these players from Houston stayed in the Houston area and just helped to build that chemistry, working with one another every day.
Well, I think, ultimately performance in this tournament is going to be determined by how each team managed the shutdown, even before they could train again. I mean, how you did with team bonding.
Mewis with the steal, has Daly to her left. Mewis with the shot, and that one hits off Corsi. But another chance there on the attack for the Houston Dash. And really, the last about 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe there of the first half, you saw Houston get more aggressive, trying to get that equalizer, and we continue to see that here in the start of the second half, about 8 minutes in. Another corner try, third of the half here for the Dash. You see everyone pretty much right there on the goal line.
Karen App getting up there going, all right, settle down.
On the ground, Oyster. Hansen brings it up. Cut out by Ball. Mewes. Dispossessed by Strom Okimoto. Gets the ball right back. And then she's tripped up. And now here, another chance for the Dash. Well, right now, here in the second half, set piece is key for Houston.
And there's the magic foam that sets the 10-yard line away for the defense. I like it just dissipates later.
Daly and Mewes will line up over the ball. So you got the right-footed Daly and the left-footed Mewes.
Paige Bowen accidentally collides with the referee. Can Daly make it a hat trick, Josh?
Mewes loops it in. Headed up by Groom. Push forward. Vero nods it back. There you see, you go back to that chance that Mewes had with a shot that resulted in a corner. She had the option to go out to Daly, but elected to take it herself. Very much like in that first game with Lynn Williams and Kristen Hamilton when they had a chance.
Abby Smith taking the kick, and she has, in her college days, scored from a kick like this.
No one there for Utah Royals FC. Utah Royals FC, 10 wins last year. Tied 4th best in the NWSL. But they just missed out on the playoffs. For Houston Dash, 7 wins last year, 12 losses. Right now, looking like a different team than what they were in the 2019 campaign. Ball down the line, Rodriguez. Turns away from Oyster. Labonta, room to push forward. Drops it off, Vero. Vero stutters, goes wide. And that pass is going to be played out by Chapman. Jonstadter sends it right into the area. And right there is Aaron Simon, chested down by Rodriguez. Vero. Go out wide. Vero at the top. Looping. And Campbell right there to pick up that bouncer.
One of the few times, Josh, that we've seen Jane Campbell get the opportunity to actually use her hands, right? We've seen a lot of Utah's attack go wide or over.
Jane Campbell with a different look in front of her this year. You have Katie Nunn and Megan Oyster now the main center backs for this Houston Dash team. Aaron Simon on the right flank, and then you also have on the left side Alyssa Chapman. This is another direct ball, but played back by Corsi. Corsi. Mewes. Trying to turn away from Labonta. At the top of the box, Stengel. Stengel with the right foot. Nothing going for Houston on that one. Dangerous pass back, and Smith has to play it up to midfield. Good awareness by Smith, just getting it out of the danger area. Chapman.
And Chapman's the only returning defender from last season for Jane Campbell. So, yeah, I think it's always interesting as your defense in front of the goalkeeper changes, you know, how well communication, how quickly they pick up communicating well together.
It's also about getting used to what they like to do as a player, what Campbell expects of them. For Utah Royals FC, their biggest change, obviously no Becky Sauerbrunn on the back line. You bring in Elizabeth Ball from Portland in the trade. The ball fitting in nice and well so far here with Rachel Corsi and Katie Bowen. Also seeing Gunny Jonsdottir back there.
Yeah, and of course we talked about in the first half missing Desiree Scott for Utah. She's going to have to miss the whole tournament for family reasons. Though Kelly O'Hara and Mallory Weber hope to return sometime in the tournament. They have minor injuries. And I'm really looking forward to if we get to see French midfielder Aminata Diallo play. She has arrived in Utah but is currently in quarantine.
Diallo on loan from Paris Saint-Germain. That's another thing you look at, how these coaches want to build their teams, where they look for to get international players.
Which teams they used to coach at. You know, there's a reason that Aaron Simon and Brie Vazali have a connection to NWSL. They both played for Matt Beard at West Ham United, who used to coach the Boston Breakers.
This one kept in on the far touchline. Jonsdottir turns. Gunny Jonsdottir in her third year out of Pepperdine.
One of the few international players who actually played collegiately too, right?
Represents Iceland.
Yeah, generally you see the European players, they go straight to playing pro, but we're starting to see every now and then, you know, them taking advantage of, hey, if I can get a free college degree and have that experience of playing in America at a pretty high level, why not?
Of another one in this one, Rachel Daly with the ball, who played at St. John's. Highest drafted English woman at number 6 overall. And another English woman, Jodie Taylor with OL Reign, played at Oregon State. Groom in the middle. Stengel. And that one just cleared away. Great job by Labonta coming back, trailing in that one. It looked like Stengel had Daly open there for what would have been a hat trick, but Lola Bonta cutting that one out.
I don't know how that didn't go in goal, Josh, but here's Stengel from the left right there for Daly, but nope. Lola Bonta doing the defensive work she's supposed to do. She gets the first touch on that, sends it out to safety.
Labonta running right there with Daly, saving a goal on that clearance. Back post. Naughton giving chase. Latsko. She'll send it back into the mixer. And right there, grabbing that out of the air. Once again, Abby Smith, she is making sure that when she gets that ball, that she locks hold of it. Like you were saying just a few minutes ago. And then a misplaced pass. And Daly does have a hat trick. Oh, they're going to say offside on Daly.
She does not believe it, Josh.
And what looked like a third goal for Rachel Daly will be denied. You see Daly getting the reason why that will not be considered a goal. She's in disbelief. No goal scorer ever likes a goal coming back.
And Josh, this is so similar to summer 2018 where Rachel had a hat trick and the third goal was called offside. Good job. She won that mistake off of Abby Smith, right? I don't know how she's offside when she was in front of the ball the whole time. I mean, the ball was in front of her the whole time.
Like, gets the foot on it.
She won that. So smart to pressure the keeper like that, right? We talked about the keepers want to make mistakes. She wins the ball, finishes cleanly. I don't understand why that's not a goal. But maybe we'll get an explanation later.
So Rachel Daly, what looked like to have a hat trick, but she will have to wait to get another opportunity. And in this game, all games here, you're going to be allowed 5 substitutions.
And every one of your players can dress, so you've got more players to choose from.
And our first substitution coming in for Utah you have coming on Kate Del Fava. She'll replace Katie Bowen. And then also coming in will be Taylor Lytle. She'll replace Riza Strom Okimoto.
Lytle returning from injury, and Del Fava making her professional debut.
Del Fava, one of those rookies that head coach Craig Harrington expect a lot of. This is sent in and just over the head. And that's going to take a deflection off of Matheson. But there you have a great look at Taylor Lytle, who just checked in moments ago, the 7th-year player. Lytle has played in 92 regular season NWSL games. Beginning to see this back line for Houston getting to settle down a little bit more. A little bit chaotic in the opening 15 minutes of this one. A lot of that probably because first game jitters, but also looking at those 2 new center backs. Add in Aaron Simon being new as well. Only returner from last year was Alyssa Chapman.
But that was the area that they knew they had to upgrade the most.
One of their weak spots, especially when you look at the 35 goals that they allowed last year.
It was an improvement on the previous year. I know everybody remembers 2018 as the season where they scored so many goals, but they also allowed a lot of goals. So slight defensive improvement, but James Clarkson knows that there's a lot more room.
Daly on the takeaway. Youngstar trying to give chase. Right there, the first touch for the rookie Del Fava. Didn't go the way she would have liked. But now she's also looking to just settle down into this one. High hopes for Del Fava. Del Fava out of Illinois State. Very much on the attacking unit in college. 25 goals in her career. Craig Harrington liking what she brings to this club. Feels like she's going to bring a lot more athleticism and can really bound forward when need be on that outside.
And that's the youth that Utah has talked about needing, right? They've got a lot of great veteran players, but they know they need to balance that out with youth.
Vero from Lytle. Back outside to Lytle. Has Ratcliffe in the middle. Vero. Back post. Trying to find Amy Rodriguez. It's just another exciting thing to see. Even though it's going to be a short time here in this NWSL Challenge Cup, the growth that Vero and Rodriguez have from last year to this year, especially when you have 2 world-class players like them, add in on that for them on the outside, Diana Matheson. And just it's going to be a matter of finding that one extra player that can help A-Rod up top. Who's that player going to be? Right now, Brittany Ratcliffe getting the go-ahead.
And hopefully today, Josh, we'll get to see Sierra King, their first-round draft pick out of NC State, first ever player from the Wolfpack to be drafted into NWSL. I know there's a lot of buzz behind her, right? Though the jump from college to pros can be pretty tough, but I really hope we see her in this game.
And each team will have 4 preliminary games before we move on to the knockout stages. As Stengel plays this in, shot, and that one finds the right corner. And Shea Groom has her first goal for the Houston Dash.
The Texas Aggie looks really happy about that. It's been a while since she's had a chance to score. Struggled with some injuries last year playing for the Reign. And hey, she got to score against a Longhorn, so perfect rivalry there. Deep ball from the defense. Stengel doing the work to hold it up, send it to the middle. One touch from Groom to the far right corner of the net. Beautiful, and a left footer at that.
Groom right at the top of the box, unmarked. Stengel just plays it right there And right there from 18 out, Shea Groom getting her first goal as we take a look at our secret virtual watch party powered by Google Meet. Dash fans loving it. Now for Utah, trailing by 2 goals. How do they respond to this adversity? We've seen what they can do. They've had chances. Now it's just a matter of giving themselves a better opportunity and capitalizing at some point in that final third as Christine Nairn will make her first appearance for the Dash.
Nairn, the all-time appearance leader in this league with 150 regular season appearances, and she made number 150 last October in Utah.
Naughton. And she'll just play this out, and a throw coming for Utah Royals FC. The one thing that Utah Royals FC does have, plenty of veterans. So no reason, even though they're trailing by 2, to panic.
They've got the experience.
Radcliffe finds Vero. Matheson trying to find A-Rod, unable to do so.
And I have to add, Josh, I wanted to double check before I said this. This is the first time in the Clarkson era that the Dash have scored more than 2 goals.
That's a head-scratching stat. I can't.
Well,
especially
only 21 goals last season. 21 goals in 24 games, right? So you know those are spread out, right?
You just think about the weapons they had last year, like with Huerta, with Watt. That it's just surprising that they didn't have that where they scored more than 2 goals. But now we will see Sierra King. She will make her first appearance.
First
as
round
Brittany Radcliffe
draft
comes
pick.
off.
She really tore things up for North Carolina State.
48 goals in her career for the Wolfpack.
And at the draft last January in Baltimore, I can't tell you the buzz in the room and how excited people were when she got called. And she was there, so she got to enjoy it and go up on the podium and talk.
So both teams making substitutions here in the last 5 minutes. Christine Nairn came on for Veronica Latsko, and then now you have Sierra King on for Brittany Radcliffe. So they will give the youngster a shot in King to see how she links up here with Amy Rodriguez. Corsi, she'll drop it back, played back by Del Fava. Del Fava, another one of these rookies for Utah Royals FC. Good blend of young and old. Ball.
And Craig Harrington told us, Josh, right, that he kind of felt like, hey, we make the quarterfinals regardless, so this gives him an opportunity to experiment in a way that coaches almost never get the opportunity in NWSL. Usually your travel schedule is too compressed, the season's too short. Depends what preseason opponents you can line up. NWSL has never had something like this, right? It's such a great opportunity for all clubs, and we've heard many coaches say, hey, we should do this every year.
Lytle towards the area. Matheson brings it down. A-Rod, and right there Campbell. But another thing you look at, especially for Craig Harrington, is he's switching to a new formation. So a lot of these players that were on last year's squad getting used to new roles that they have. They have a 3-5-2 lineup that they're going with.
And a team in transition, as we talked about, and also they thought that they were going to be, that they would have Desiree Scott. They thought that Kelly O'Hara would be healthy by now. So we'll see this team evolve as the tournament goes on.
Great ball here, finding Daly. Del Fava giving chase. Daly cuts in. Now they'll just recycle this back and restart. Hansen. Stengel back to Hansen. Daly walking off towards the touchline. They're just going to play this out. Daly holding her hip. So again, this is one of the things that coaches have talked about, is they just want everyone to be safe and healthy. But now Rachel Daly will come off as she takes a seat right away in the dugout, and we're going to have a hydration break as well. But here our score, 3-1. Houston ahead of Utah. You look back, really this last about 30 minutes, Houston has really been able to gain control of this one. With that 3-1 lead, that last goal coming from Shea Groom. The two previous by the dash coming by Rachel Daly. The first goal of the game came from Diana Matheson. In this one, that one was back in the 35th minute. But for both these two teams right now, Houston beginning to find their path in this game. Utah still trying to figure it out as they've been bringing in and out new players and old players. As there you get the great pass from Amy Rodriguez to Diana Matheson. Diana Matheson out last season, getting that goal right there, but here in stoppage time, a great ball played down by Naughton, finds Veronica Latsko. Latsko plays it into Daly. Daly, no one around her, puts it in the roof for the Houston Dash. That would be just right before halftime. And then to start this one out on the corner piece, Mewis to the head of Rachel Daly, and that would be her second. We thought she had a third goal in this one, but that one was called off. But here, the third and final goal, Stengel plays it to the top of the box, and right there waiting is Shea Groom, and she puts it in just past the outstretched arm of Abby Smith. Shea Groom with her first goal in a Houston Dash uniform. And there you see Rachel Daly on the ground.
Of course, she's completely spent already. She leaves it all on the field. So, hey, maybe she can rest now.
Looks like Sophie Schmidt, the player in for Rachel Daly. Sophie Schmidt, another Canadian player on this Houston Dash squad. Naughton giving chase. Now Gunny Youngstar will have a throw for Utah Royals FC. Now we're seeing Youngstar begin to push up the field more. So here you're trailing by 2. How does Craig Harrington get his team back in this? Are we going to see more numbers go forward, or are they going to just try to still feel one another out as they build towards these next 3 games? King, that one takes a deflection, corner kick coming.
I think it's a great opportunity to put your players in test situations that maybe you couldn't have in practice, right? Like simulating playing down is different from actually playing 2 goals down.
The delivery cleared away once again by Katie Stengel. King turns, falls down. Cleared out by Schmidt. King trying to reach back to Verrill, unable to get it to her. Ball. Corsi, head up, looking for someone to pass. Who goes short. Labonta. Nearly dispossessed, and good job by Schmidt sticking with that. Stengel. Wanting to get a through ball to Groom, but unable to do so. Del Fava right in the right position. Hansen. Mewis in the center of the pitch. Chapman. And now switching sides will be Naughton as she'll come to Allie Prysock. Allie Prysock also just checking in.
She was Dash's top draft pick last year out of USC. Ended up playing a lot more time at center back than James Clarkson had intended after Claire Polkinghorn left the club for family reasons. But great experience to have, right? After a rookie season like that, you probably feel like you've been doing it for years.
15 games she played, 15 games she started last season. But for a lot of coaches, that's what you hear, getting the NWSL experience. So Prysock able to get that last year, and now we're seeing players like Sierra King, Kate Del Fava come in for Utah Royals FC. So those rookies getting their first ever NWSL experience, and that's so important to have, especially because of the level difference that is from college to the professional game.
And length of season and athleticism and different subbing rules. And it's so hard in NWSL for the teams to get competition outside the actual league itself you know, because they don't have Open Cup or many other club competitions. So it is hard to get youngsters minutes sometimes.
Well, you have expectations that come in and sometimes a different role. And that's sometimes a huge adjustment for these young players as they sent in towards the spot. Groom brings it down. Groom showing off the speed, but she's not able to get that by Corsi. Corsi stepping up and doing a good job preventing Groom from advancing further up the field. Hansen. Schmidt. Stengel. Plays it outside. Prysock. She'll work it back in. Hansen. King doing a good job playing deep, coming back to disrupt that. Stengel. Now you see Stengel holding up the ball a bit, waiting for more players. Hughes plays it out wide, but no one there for the dash.
You know, 12 plus minutes to go, Josh. Of course, we'll have a little extra time because of the hydration break. But, you know, I think what's key for the dash is holding this down, right? Like we've seen them give up goals late last season to, you know, a win becomes a tie, you know, instead of keeping that 3 points. Every goal, every point's important in this tournament when we only have 4 first-round games. So, and a lot of tiebreakers coming into play.
So now we will have 2 more subs for Houston. Cece Kaiser will now enter the game, as well as Jamia Fields. Jamia Fields will replace Katie Stengel. Katie Stengel, the assist on that goal to Shea Groom. What do you think about Katie Stengel's first appearance in the dash uniform today?
We saw exactly why James Clarkson signed her, right? To be able to hold up the ball, feed the ball to Rachel, take off the pressure from Rachel having to do all of the attacking. What great combination play we saw, especially once we got into like 30th, 40th minute and early into the second half. And Cece Kaiser, most used sub for Houston last season. Talked to her yesterday. She talked about learning to be patient in her rookie season, that, you know, you're not going to automatically be a starter, but you just got to keep working towards that goal.
King trying to play it wide. Youngstotter drops it off. Matheson. Ball. The Canadian sends it forward. Flicked back by Vero to Rodriguez. Rodriguez calling for a handball, and I think they're going to get a handball.
Oyster,
and this is
Oyster's
go
in disbelief.
Megan Oyster.
And we got the second yellow of the tournament, second yellow of the game.
So Amy Rodriguez with the first yellow card of the tournament in the game, and now Megan Oyster with a yellow card for a Houston dash. And now here for Utah, they will have a great look. We'll see where they officially mark the ball. It looks like it's just going to be right at the top of the box.
I would call that a shoulder chest ball.
There, it looks like it just gets that
the other
arm.
view is better. That's a tough call. And also it's advantage gain and position and all that stuff. I did like her look of disbelief, but Dash setting up that wall.
The set piece here at the top of the box. And Vero, she can bend this in. Campbell with that wall, just 10 yards about in front of her. Vero's go, and that finds the right side for Utah, and now they are within 1 with just over 8 minutes remaining. Matheson trying to get the ball from Campbell. Campbell not allowing it.
Naren, her former Washington Spirit teammate from the 2016, saying, "I got this, Diana, I got this." Wow.
And now we have a yellow card handed out to Diana Matheson.
Or was that to Vero? Or it just seemed that Vero was close enough to be angry.
But what a job there by Vero.
Right around the wall. Hard for Jane Campbell to see. Enough power and so wide. Jane is stretching. She's going the right way. Can't get there in time.
And now Utah within 1. Vero with her first goal here in the NWSL Challenge Cup as we take a look at our secret virtual watch party powered by Google Meet. Utah fans now hoping to find an equalizer here. Well, this game's got a little testy. Before it, we didn't have a single yellow card handed out, and now we already have 3.
And this is not the matchup that you thought would be as testy as, say, North Carolina, Courage, and Portland Thorns. Well, but you can see how much this means to these players.
The competitive fire from both these two teams.
And even for Utah, even if they don't pull out an equalizer, still that second goal could be an important tiebreaker in the final standings.
Nairn. Youngstotter. Now we're beginning to see more whistles here. We've been seeing that for about the last 15 minutes. It's got a little bit closer. And that's also what's great about this tournament is every game matters. So there's just more important each week. You talked about how the goal differential could play a factor. And this is one that's looking like it's going to come down to the wire between the Houston Dash and Utah Royals. Right now, Dash with the 1-goal lead. Nairn plays it outside. Mewis sends it into the box. And that one got by the back foot of Delfava. Lytle chases it down. Now Houston will bring more players forward and set up for this throw. Houston last year finished 7th in the NWSL standings. But here today, they look much different than they did last year. Schmidt. Schmidt trying to earn her team a corner. Good job there by Utah, making sure that just stayed as a throw-in. Second-year player, Prysock. Hansen. Chapman. King in pursuit. Fields plays it up. Naughton. Nairn. She'll go all the way back to Naughton. Rodriguez looking to try to steal one away for Utah. Patience there between the two center backs.
Nice to see Elizabeth Ball playing almost the entire game, maybe the full 90 in her first appearance for Utah. You know, it was a struggle for her last season to get a lot of minutes at Portland, right? It's such a deep team. You know, you had that World Cup window for her to play into, but otherwise it's hard to get into that starting lineup.
Ball sent down the field and miscommunication there. Naughton and Oyster were not sure if Jane Campbell was going to come out, if they should have came back and played it back. And there's a little bit of the growing experience that you're going to see them go through, even with the two veterans that they have at center back and with a goalie like Jane Campbell.
And we've seen that in every game. There's been at least one keeper/defensive communication error where it doesn't necessarily matter how veteran you are. Depends how much you've been doing this together, communicating, how well you work as a unit.
And that's one of those things for Megan Oyster, as well as Katie Naughton, maybe coming from one of their previous teams. They're used to their keeper coming out and taking that. As Prysock looks to send this in, does, at the spot. Fields. And now Vero in possession for Royals FC. Good job there by Fields coming back to win that ball for Houston Dash. Schmidt. Nairn comes near side. Prysock. Schmidt to Nairn, goes out wide. Great build up there by the Dash. Sent in. Schmidt, and that one takes a deflection off Corsi. Matheson looking to turn. King. Lytle. Trying to find Rodriguez. Rodriguez in the channel. Trying to squeeze through as she's dragged down. Vero. Back post, headed up by Chapman. Coming in on that backside was Gunny Youngstotter. Beryl, you could see she had her mind made up what she wanted to do with that ball, and if that one's completed on the pass, a good chance there for Gunny Youngstotter to get one on target. Now, Beryl will have a kick set up, but here we will see another sub. Michelle Maimon will be the first to come in for Utah Royals FC. Well, they're going to hold off until after the kick. And no, we will bring in the subs. So Maddie Nolf will replace Diana Matheson. And then Michelle Maimon will come in for Gunny Youngstotter. So there, Diana Matheson had the first goal in the first half for Utah Royals FC. Received a yellow card in the second half. The service from Vero. And headed in, and Sierra King has her first goal for Utah Royals FC, and they have found an equalizer in the 89th minute.
I knew it, Josh. I knew we'd be having more goals, and we did. 3-3. We have not seen a game like this in a while.
Well, 48 goals in Sierra King's college career, and what a way to get your first NWSL goal here in the first ever NWSL Challenge Cup.
Nice run. Follow that ball. Gets her head on it. And I love how she's hopping while she's heading it, right? But still heads it down in the opposite direction, which is the hardest save for a keeper to make. Her teammates are so excited for the rookie. That's a way to start your pro career.
For King and Utah Royals FC, their second goal in 7 minutes, as we take another look at our virtual watch party powered by Google Meet. And now Fields on the far side played out, and goal kick coming for Utah Royals FC. Well, Utah trailed, but they have found a way to come back into this one, bringing new players on, and King getting her first career goal in the NWSL. We were told we will have 6 minutes of stoppage time in this one, too, so we have plenty more time to possibly see a fourth goal from one of these squads. King outside. Maimon with the left. Prysock clears it out.
And the challenging thing at this point, Josh, is there have been a lot of subs by both teams, right? So you've lost a little bit of the momentum of the flow of having played 40, 50, 60 minutes together. So that can add to confusion for both teams. It also means you've got fresh legs. And you've got this fight, like I've said before, every point, every goal. Utah getting back with that equalizer, that's huge, right? They're going to split the points as opposed to Houston taking 3 points unless something happens in the next 5 minutes.
Our highest scoring game so far here in this NWSL Challenge Cup. Both games on Saturday, 2-1 was the final score. King sends it in, and that one off the mark. You look at it, North Carolina, they got the game winner in stoppage time against Portland. As we go back and we look at the goal once again, just perfect pass. King right there behind that back line. Kaiser trying to keep up, and all King had to do was head it in. Also on Saturday, Washington gained the victory 2-1 over Chicago.
And I know some might wonder, wasn't King offside? No, because when the ball was served, she was where she was supposed to be. And then she outran the defense and got the ball first.
Nairn, Schmidt, Lewis. Plays it out wide. Sent into the area, and that one headed away by Labonta. Maimon. That one hits off, but stays in play. This is going to find Nairn. Nairn with a little room to work with. Takes a deflection. Nairn looked like she was going to the back post.
I was thinking she would take a shot. Like, there was her big opportunity, right?
And that pass cut out by Allie Prysock.
Nairn did have one late dramatic goal last season, getting a stoppage time equalizer at Reign.
Fields. And this will go against Fields, and now, of course, he will settle things down for a moment. And now Abby Smith will come out. We saw her do this earlier in this game. She has a leg to send it forward. You've mentioned earlier that the goals she scored at the University of Texas
were usually from distance.
Nods it away. Hansen. Ball sends it right back. Now giving chase. Down the line. And that's going to find its way past the end line. Good look there by Ball.
Keep it in.
Just a little too much weight on that pass. Stoppage time right now in this one. 3 minutes remains. Does one of these teams have enough left to find that one goal? Or are we going to see our first draw here in this NWSL Challenge Cup? Oyster. Mewis, long ball, trying to find Fields. Delfava, but right to Nairn. Nairn sends it forward with the left. Fields and Kaiser trying to link up. This one dropped back by Corsi. Chapman. Chapman with King giving chase. Kaiser. Trying to get by Maimone. Sends it in, and that's going to be a corner here for Houston.
Good work by the second-year player for the Dash. Broke all kinds of records at Ole Miss.
Now Mewis, another corner opportunity. We do have a goal that came off a corner by Rachel Daly. Ball driven in. Nairn fans on it now. Amy Rodriguez with a chance to run. Coming back, good job by Chapman, cutting off the angle there.
Look at the speed of Alicia Chapman. Otherwise, like you were going to say, A-Rod had nothing in front of her. But open space.
You see the hustle, like you said, by Chapman trying to break that up, because that's the last thing you want to see if you're Jane Campbell, is Amy Rodriguez running down that field. Oyster heads it. Nairn plays it back, but right to King. She can't hold on. Prysock clears it away. Ball drops it off. Mewis. Chapman running forward as the time ticks down. That one cleared away by Delfava. Schmidt. Kaiser. And King. Well, there is the final whistle in this one. A 3-3 draw. And it went down to the wire. The final goal coming from that rookie, Sierra King, in the 87th minute to get the equalizer in this one. But what a game we had. It got going early in this one. Diana Matheson with the first goal, and Daly would have the next two, and then Vero and ultimately King with the equalizer. But this is just the first game today. We still have more action later on tonight, and then throughout the rest of the weekend. And just the NWSL Challenge Cup continues to get even more exciting after today.
It's like our own personal NWSL World Cup. I'm loving it. We've got Reign taking on Sky Blue. It'll be the last two teams to kick off their tournament. And then 2 more matches tomorrow, Portland, Chicago, Washington, North Carolina, and then everything continues. 4th of July weekend, we'll have 2 matches on Saturday, 2 matches on Sunday.
And Jen, quickly, your final thoughts.
I wanted there to be a lot of goals. I knew there would be a lot of goals. I didn't think it would play out like that.
Well, 6 in total in terms of goals. We also had 3 yellow cards handed out today. The first yellow cards of the NWSL Challenge Cup. So it's something else, but we still have more action later on. But what a game today. The first draw here in the NWSL Challenge Cup, and what a game it was between the Dash and Utah Royals. There you're seeing Daly's 2 goals. Then Groom gets her first goal for the Houston Dash. And, well, Utah would find their way back in here. Farrow, a great goal, and then it would be followed off by King. But for Jen Cooper and the rest of his crew, thank you. We'll see you tonight at 10 Eastern.